Hello, everybody. Tim Grimes here with Marvin Daniels. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. In case you don't know who we are SP coaches who start where the other SP coaches end. And yeah, we like to get deep with this stuff when other people stay shallow. Today, we're going to discuss about uh, real mental dieting, no bullshit mental dieting in terms of disciplining yourself. I can't speak, but I can still talk, if that makes any sense. Marv, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Awesome. I know in your last video, you posted an interview you did with Sheila that you guys did recently. That's correct. Sheila's another SP creator coach, correct?
Exactly.
We'll put a link above to that interview or conversation that Marv had with her. And what struck me about that conversation, one of the things that you guys are talking about, is she said that she basically had this you could say routine for 90 days in a row, and she did it for 90 days, and she ended up writing basically a significant paper for her degree based upon what she did for 90 days. And you were saying how unusual that was for people to be able to stick with a routine to that degree. And I've heard you say that with clients before as well. So I was wondering just if you wanted to expound upon that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you don't hear people stick to a routine for 90 days straight. Straight is the key word. She said she did it for 90 days straight. She didn't miss one day. Now, obviously, a lot of us have our routines, but we don't stick to it for 90 days straight. And oftentimes, when I talk to people, I tell them, you don't have to do it every day, right? It's something you like to say is don't miss 2 days in a row, right? But for most people, I think a lot of people do miss 2 days in a row. And, but they still do it maybe once, twice, or whatever the case may be a week. I know for myself personally, when I had my manifesting routine, I only did, maybe 2, 3 days a week. Some weeks I might have only did it once a week. I don't know because it was so long ago, but I was anywhere from probably I'd say 1 to 3, maybe 4 times a week max. I might have did my living in the end and sats and all that type of stuff.
Right.
But for her to do it 90 days straight, that type of discipline, that type of focus is unseen. And I stand by that. Most people will not do something like that. I remember Agnes, who was telling me when she started her channel, that's something she did when she first started her channel in content creation, is she put out a video every day for 90 days straight. I remember her telling me that. And so there's this consistency bug that no matter if it's once or twice a week, no matter if it's 90 days straight, there's this consistency thing that you have to have, in my opinion. Because even though I wasn't doing it every day, I still had a consistency that was consistent for me, that worked. And so this is why you always hear Tim and myself say, find what works for you. But the fact that she was able to do this every day, I think that helps people a lot more, in my opinion, because as you and I always say, Tim, and I guess I'll swing it to you. We always say people people should be doing this way more than they are. And I think that speaks to Joe Dispenza, him talking about his meditation, him trying to get his daughter up every day to do their meditation and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of there's this classic Jim Rohn video. And I don't know if he's even the one who originally came up with this phrase. I'll try to find it. If I find it, I'll put a link above to the video where he's like saying like, some do, some don't. And he was just saying like, most people don't, I think he was part of that video too, was talking about a library card back when this is pre-internet, so like when having a library card was like one of the most valuable things you could have. And yet only like some ridiculously low percentage of people in the United States like actually had a library card. Without question, not having a consistent routine is, I personally think one of the biggest things that holds people up. Just that's what we've seen working with clients, both doing, our SP coaching together. And before that, I think when we're working with clients individually, when I work with non-SP clients, even more so, I notice a lot of the time there's a lack of a routine. And I guess one thing that just struck me with that interview is like, this is why I'm talking about this almost in terms of like mental dieting, guys, because there's many forms of mental dieting. Obviously, I'm using it loosely here in terms of like refining your mind. Refining your mind basically means having some kind of routine you do. So you do something, whether or not you feel like doing it, you're going to do it anyway. That's kind of like big picture mental dieting. I feel like that's how Neville often meant it. Someone like Emmett Fox describes a way of specifically doing something very refined for a shorter period of time, which is also hugely valuable. If anything, even more valuable, I think, some of the time, in terms of like seeing a short-term change. But the big picture stuff, I don't like labeling it mental dieting, but that's what it is. It's when you've created a routine and you stick by it. Okay, now here's my truth bomb. Here's why I wanted to hop on and talk about this, Marv. And for those who get this, which will probably be a small percentage of people watching, this can be a key insight, maybe even an epiphany for you. Here it is. 90 days ain't fucking shit. That doesn't impress me whatsoever. Actually, I mean, I do shit like that all the time, and I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying, if you're serious about manifesting an SP or changing your life, guess what? Guess who gets shit done? They are fucking disciplined. I was texting with you, Marv, after the video, and I was giving the example of like, if you have a kid or a pet you care for, do you skip a day? Do you skip 2 days in a row? No. And that's why people say they're serious, all this stuff. No one's serious, but most people aren't serious. Some do, some don't. Most of y'all don't. Because if you do something for 90 days straight with the attitude, I'm doing this whether anything happens in the 3D or not, that is the attitude Marvin and I like. And honestly, that is the attitude that a lot of you have in other aspects of your life. You just don't take this SP thing seriously enough. If you have a child or a pet, you don't take a day off. Worst comes to worst, you have someone else take care of the pet or child for a day or two. But you don't get a day off. There are no days off. I can tell you, like, my main thing is I like to vibe out and meditate. I don't know how many days in a row I've fucking done that, guys. 1,000? I don't know. Maybe I've missed a day or two. I don't fucking care. Journaling, that's a secondary exercise for me. And I can't remember the last time I haven't done it. Maybe once in the last year. Like success indicator journaling doesn't take me very long. Simple exercise, but it takes me at least a couple minutes. I do it every fucking day. And yet people can't even nail down a routine like Marv's talking about, where you do sats twice a week or whatever feels right for you. That's just not being serious. Some do, some don't. Jim Rohn, man. He's fucking right about that. I just don't think people are serious. And another reason, I mean, there's so many examples I could give of this, but one example I could give is people just watching random ass SP content and being on YouTube instead of applying these ideas by doing a routine instead of being on YouTube, or reading a book, which is usually going to make you think much more critically, or listening to the audiobook version rather than randomly listening to shit. Actually, I would bet some of you do have a routine. It's fucking watching SP videos every day, which is a terrible routine, because you could spend much less time and just to have one focused exercise, it would probably fit you better and suit you more than all this stuff. One of the reasons people work with Marvin and I is just so we basically gently kick your butt. We're very loving, and we kick your butt, and we get you, make sure you have a routine. And I say we make sure, because if you aren't doing it, the first thing we ask you is, are you sticking to your routine? It's much, much easier to do that if you have support. And I know a lot of you think you can do it on your own, and you can't. And then there are some of you who can. There's those like Jim Rohn that have that kind of discipline. Like for me, I don't need, by the way, I have coaches, I have coaching. Right now, currently, I have a freaking business coach, a therapist, and an energy healer. Okay. And I don't need any of that stuff to do something for 90 days straight. I'll do it anyway. I want help. But I think that most people in the community think, oh, I can do this alone. I can figure this out, or I can just read Neville. And the reality is, you look at the results. If they haven't changed the way you want, maybe look for help. It doesn't have to necessarily be us, but it has to be something, in my opinion, some kind of routine or some kind of commitment to change. Thus spoke Zarathustra. That's my fucking tangent, Marv.
Nah, that was great, man. I think you're right. I think a lot of people definitely need help with a routine, and I think a lot of people definitely need help with staying consistent and having that person or persons hold them accountable, because that's what most people, I mean, we see what happens to people when we leave them to their own devices.
Exactly.
Time always tells, and so many people think they are disciplined or they know what they're doing, and they really don't. Most people don't, and you will see who knows what they're doing in due time. And so I think the coaching part, the teaching part, the learning part, the blind spots part, because that's what people really need help with, is their blind spots. A lot of people have blind spots, and they don't realize. You know, I always give the coach analogy. That's why professional athletes, even though they're professional athletes, they still have coaches, because they can't see what they're doing when they're in the game a lot of times. You know what I mean? And quite frankly, that's what a lot of people need. But for Sheila to do that for 90 days straight, it's just, you just don't hear about it in the community, because people think they don't need to. People always look for the easy route. People just want to affirm or do whatever that hot shiny object is. And when you have that mentality, in my opinion, you miss out, because number one, you're doing what's popular instead of what actually may work for you. And I think that's where a lot of people get caught up, is they just, oh, this is what's in right now, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try it, instead of actually doing what you should be doing, which is whatever that may be for you. And so I think it's powerful, man. I think having a routine is powerful. I think having someone hold your hand is powerful. Having someone to be able to go to when you need answers, or why is this happening? Why is this going on? Whatever the case may be. I think it's all needed. So
Yeah. I think you make a great point, and you always say it. I completely agree. You can have a flexible routine, but I think the lack of a routine is basically death for most people when it comes to this stuff, for sure. It's so easy to uh, fall off the horse and just never get back on, and to then just get stuck and getting like the YouTube thing, and just realizing in retrospect, oh my God, I've spent the last year or two watching videos as opposed to actually applying something, even for 10 minutes a day. And as you touched upon, really, this is real talk, guys. Most of you with SP issues, you need to spend way more than 10 minutes a day on this shit. You have to refine your mind and think about what your behavior is actually indicating, how you're reacting to things, and how that's making you feel and respond to the world. My general advice when Marvin and I have SP clients is, the first couple months, don't expect huge changes in your outer world. Just focus on how you feel, live your life somewhat the way you did before, but just be kind to yourself, and be the good person you are. Try to practice the golden rule. And if you do that, I think you'll be shocked by not focusing on getting the shiny object, the SP, right away, and focusing on the inner work, the deep work, and grounding yourself more, and being practical about living your day-to-day life in a more healthy, loving manner. I think you'll be shocked. After 3 months, you probably will have huge changes in your 3D. But we always tell people, if you want changes in your 3D, you got to expect to do 3 months of work where you aren't necessarily going to see anything before that starts to happen. Even though you work with us, often stuff happens far faster than that. But people don't want to handle the bitter medicine. They don't even want to come close to swallowing it, let alone do something about it every single day. But this is practical implementation, how to navigate the 3D when you're going through uncertainty and fear and anxiety about your SP and who you are and all this shit, the way to navigate it better is to have a set routine and to do the thing even if you don't want to do it. And if you miss a day or whatever, to just be disciplined enough to be like, I'm not going to miss tomorrow.
Gotta regulate the nervous system.
Regulate the nervous system. No, again, like I said in that video, I'll put a video link above to that if you guys didn't see that. When people say regulate the nervous system, they use this like a lip service term. But if you're really regulating your nervous system, it's work. It's consistent work. It's a routine that you're doing over a long period of time. It's not a one-time thing. It's not like I did SATs once, now they come back. Like Marvin and I always say, you do SATs once, they come back, great. Now you got to fucking deal with them. Now the real work starts. So yeah, I challenge people who are watching this video who want to do relationship, self-concept, SP work, to set a goal over the next 90 days or so. Can I have a legit routine that I set for myself that I like, and then follow through and do it? And if you want help, if you're serious, if you want coaching and support, links in the description. Marvin and I can help you. But, we're not going to hop on a free consultation call with you and tell you what to fucking do, guys. We can't do that. This isn't a one-time thing. This is work. And we work with people who want to do the work because the work is so gratifying. So.
Nah, that's good shit. That's good shit. And I agree totally. So many people, they need that push. And you made a great point, Tim, about watching YouTube content. That really is people's routine. They get on YouTube and they spend. Remember, we did the interview with E, and I think she said that in that interview. For those that don't know, we did an interview with woman E, and she talked about her SP journey, and we helped her out tremendously.
We'll put a link above to that video as well. Yeah,
she was in a pretty bad state, and that was one of her things. She used to just watch content because it would suffice in a way, or I guess get her excited.
That's definitely the case for so many people too. I would say the majority of people in SP situations that's what they do.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong. If it's healthy in a healthy way, I agree with Tim 100%. But if you find yourself watching these SP videos, but you find yourself not actually doing a routine, then I think it's bad for you. But if you find yourself watching SP content, but you are actually applying it, then I don't see anything necessarily wrong with that. Except who you might be watching. That might be the problem. You know what I mean? But but I agree with Tim. Like if you're just watching SP videos and you're not taking any action, that's not taking action watching SP content. You need to actually come up with a routine and, like Tim said, do it a lot more. But if you are watching SP content and those videos do get you excited, they do put you in a good mood, and then you are doing your routine as well on top of that, I think that can help you, as long as it's coming from the right place, the right energy, if you want to use those terms. But yeah, I just think Tim hit it right on the head, made so many good points.
Some do. Some
don't.
do.
Some don't.
I really hope we can find that video. I'll find it. Yeah, I agree with you there, Marv. You can watch some SP content as long as it inspires you. But the reality from what I've seen over the years is just it confuses people because they watch way too much. And it also makes it so they don't stay consistent with their routine because they're like, oh, cool. Like, I kind of like affirming. But then you see some teacher online be like, oh, mental dieting is the way to go, or SATs are the way to go. So you get all this conflicting information. If you want your YouTube content, if you are watching it, to align with your routine, to support your routine, to motivate you, the main benefit of these quote unquote law of assumption coaches and SP coaches is that they motivate you. They can be inspiring. I think that's their greatest benefit, most of them, like the ones that mean well, even if a lot of the shit they say we disagree with, it's like they at least are motivating you. But if it's just empty sugar, and you're not doing anything with it, then the motivation isn't going to be that helpful. And you can go the other way and just log off YouTube for 90 days and just have a routine And I think you'd get better results, especially if you're reading the books or listening to the audiobook versions of some of this stuff. Yeah. Cool. All right, Marvel, thank you. Some do, some don't. Links in the description if you want to talk to us, if you're serious about changing your life and your SP situation. Until next time, guys. Yeah, listen to Jim Rohn.